Good afternoon and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I'm your host, Valette Sunshine, and I'm so excited to be here today. I am going to be speaking with Keith McPhail. We're going to take a journey through his life. He's going to share some intimate situations and things that he's gone through that made him who he is today. And Keith, I appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm excited about this because, it's always hard to go back in your past and talk about, I know it is for me, to talk about the decisions I made in my life that were not so good and landed me in places that I wish I wouldn't have. But I don't think I would take any of it back because I wouldn't be who I am today.
Amen. That's right.
And so, but it was really hard for me to share at first. And then when I did, I felt better. But the fact of the matter is that every time I share, I cry. Because every time in my story, somewhere along the line, I hurt somebody. And that kills me.
Yeah.
But it's healing. So I want to start with, I know, so when we grow up in our childhood and growing up, there are possible things that maybe some issues that have arisen that have never been addressed that we get past, or maybe it's just that we grew up and we just made bad choices. Tell me about your growing up.
Well, I was raised in Arkansas, and my stepfather that I didn't know was my stepfather was very abusive towards my mom and us and me and my older brother Kevin. So I grew up the first 11 years being beaten about every other day by whatever he could grab onto. He was an alcoholic, so that didn't help at all. So that was hard because you never want your dad to beat you. I'm not talking about spankings. I'm talking about broom handles and boots and whatever he could get his hand on. So we took a lot, and then my mom filed for divorce finally, and so we were living in Arkansas at the time, and I was pilfering around, which I liked to do when I was younger, and found a box, and then looked in this box, and I found my birth certificate, and the name that I had, Jones, wasn't the name on the birth certificate. So the man who had been beating me all these years wasn't even part of that. So I was shocked at that because my mom never told me that I had a real father.
Right.
And so we never approached that conversation for a while because she was going through all the stuff she was going through.
Right. So when you found the paperwork, did you took it to your mom?
No.
What did you do? Did you keep it in? Did you tell somebody?
No.
What did you do at that point?
Didn't do anything. Just shocked, and then me and my older brother took a stand against my stepfather for the last time, and so we basically beat him one time when he was beating my mom. That was it. He was kicked out of the house, and so we ended up moving to Oklahoma. She got remarried to a McPhail, which he adopted me and changed my name to McPhail.
So do you know who your real dad is?
I do, and me and my wife, Christy, he came into our lives, my older brother, a few times and gave my brother $20 to give me. So he's given me $20 my whole life. He's passed away now.
Okay.
But me and my wife, Christy, went out there before we got married, and she's right behind the camera.
Yeah, I agree.
Love her to death.
Yeah.
And we met him for the first time. But what was ironic about that meeting is he denied I was his son. So,
Oh, dang.
yeah, and so we finally convinced him to do a DNA test, and it obviously came back positive.
And so do you think that's why your mom just never told you, because he just was saying, no, you're not his?
Probably, and probably just for her embarrassment, her not telling us sooner. So anyway.
So you ended up in Oklahoma because your mom remarried, and it was Bartlesville that you came to?
Bartlesville.
Okay, and you've been here ever since?
Been here ever since.
All right, so when you guys landed in Bartlesville, she remarried. How was that stepfather?
Well, my stepdad, Kenneth McPhail, had only been married once before, no kids, and then all of a sudden, in one day, he has 4 kids from the ages of 18, 15, 11, and 7. So for him, that was tough.
Yep.
We didn't get along either. I was kind of a rebel at that time when I moved to Oklahoma.
How old were you?
I was 15, almost 16.
Okay.
And I'd started doing drugs a little bit before then. When I was 14, started smoking dope, started smoking marijuana.
Okay.
So when I got up here, I kept that going. So what was bad is me and my older brother moved here for 5 months by ourselves. while my mom and my stepdad were still in Arkansas selling the house and all that
Right.
stuff.
So you had a house here that they had here, but just y'all were on your
Just
own.
me and my brother.
Wow.
And that was not good.
Geez.
Come on now.
Oh wow. Okay, let's talk about
A
it.
lot of parties going on
Let's
at
talk
that
about it,
house.
okay.
A lot of parties going on at that house. So no parental guidance. We would go
Right.
work for my stepdad in the oil business, and we made a lot of money, and we spent a lot of money.
So was marijuana just the drug of choice at that time
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
teens?
Yep.
Okay.
Just drug of my choice, and drank a little bit, but marijuana was it.
Was it okay?
I mean, I tried everything. I mean, the only drug I've never tried is heroin.
Okay. So tell me, you went to school in Bartlesville. Did you graduate?
Well, ironically, when I skipped 64 days in a row without getting caught, and on the 65th day I got caught 2.5 weeks before we walked for graduation.
Oh.
So I didn't get to walk with my
You
class
didn't get to
because
walk.
I got kicked out of school.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. So then when did it change from the marijuana to something when marijuana wasn't enough?
Yeah.
Then what did you go to? Was it?
Yeah, my stepdad kicked me out when I was almost 17. So, and I went to my first treatment when I was in high school here at Jane Phillips. Went to my first treatment center there, and I've been to 6 treatment centers over the last 35 years. So, probably when I was 18, I started doing a little bit of cocaine, and then after that, it just went to hell.
Yeah. So you talk about when we first came on and we talked about in our childhood things happen, and so it doesn't sound like any of that was addressed, and so you were just acting out you were being a rebel, you were being rebellious because of what had happened to you.
Right.
So.
And one of the things that really happened when I was living in Arkansas, and I talk about this in our next issue in our magazine, is that there was a terrible accident that happened that my brother's best friend, died in, and I was driving the truck that I fell asleep at the wheel, and he ended up passing away.
Hey.
Yeah, so I was 15, didn't even have a license, so
Yeah.
shouldn't have been driving. But
So what was the outcome for you at that point?
bad. I mean, that's when it
Did they
kinda-
go to take you to jail?
No,
Did they-
no, they didn't press charges, nothing like that. Had 9 kids. He was the youngest out of 9 kids. Just turned 18, just graduated high school.
Right. And so how did you live with that? I mean,
Not good.
what did that do to you?
Just put it all inside. And,
You never talked about it?
No, I can only tell you 10 times. You're the 11th time I've told that. to you.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
It's not
sorry.
good. You know, it's not good to see somebody like that take their last breath when
Right.
you're 15.
So at what
For
point-
something you've caused.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's a lot.
A lot to handle.
That's a lot, yeah. So in rehab, so they talk about going to rehab and how you have to be really willing to do that, because if you're not willing to do it, you can go.
Sure.
But it doesn't help, you
No.
know. You're just waiting to get out to do that. How many times did that happen to you?
Oh, I would
Was
say-
it like every time? Did rehab help you?
Yeah, the last couple times it helped me. The first time it was an option, either you go to rehab or you go to boys camp. So obviously I chose rehab.
Okay. So really it wasn't like Keith saying, I'm done, I need to go to rehab.
No.
So it was against your will, so that wasn't gonna work.
We were getting high up there at the treatment center, so, it
Yep.
was just get 30 days. But when I got out of there and went back home, it didn't last very long, and then that's when I got kicked out. And I've been on my own since.
Okay. And so let's talk about relationships.
Mm.
Were you ever abusive? Because when abuse happens, then a lot of time it tends to carry on, you know, it's like a trickle effect.
Mhm.
Were you ever abusive?
Never to my kids, never
never-
to my wife, no.
Okay.
no.
All
That's
right,
one of
and
the
so-
choices I made when I was getting married. I've been married twice. My first wife, I decided I'm never gonna beat my kids. I mean, I spanked my kids.
Well, yeah,
But
yeah.
never physically abuse them like I was done to.
Right.
That's some big scars that will never go away.
They never go away. It's just like someone talking bad to you, abusing you verbally.
Yes.
It's both
It's-
of them.
it's the same thing.
It's the same abuse.
That's right.
And you're right. It never goes away. And so what finally happened where you were ready to be done?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of years of sobriety. In between a lot of years, I had 9 years of sobriety, and I had 12 years of sobriety. And then when I married Christy this last time, 6 months into our marriage, I was shooting cocaine again.
And how did Christy handle that? Because, you guys been together for a long time, and it affects everybody. I didn't use, shoot drugs or anything like that, but I did, you know, sell drugs, and I did a lot of stuff. And I thought, because I didn't have kids at the time, that I was only hurting me. So if something happened to me, then it doesn't matter. But I hurt a lot of people, Keith.
Yes, you did.
And I want to know, how did that affect your life?
Well, I mean, it wasn't good. I mean, because she grew up not doing any of that stuff, not drinking. I mean, she was, you know, a Christian girl, and she was the love of my life. And so for me, getting married and then her being pregnant, so now we have 7 kids. There's no excuse, you know, I did it, and but she kicked me out of the house. She filed for divorce, but she never put the divorce papers into the court system, but she did file for divorce. I lived out on my own for 8 months, which was the worst thing.
So when you say lived out on your own, you was just roaming around doing whatever?
I lived in a little apartment down here on 6th Street.
And just doing whatever Keith felt like he wanted to do?
You don't ever want to leave an attic alone. And so I struggled through that period of time, but it was March coming up. It'll be 12 years that I've been clean, because I was making the change. I was doing the things to tell her that I wanted to make a change, and she let me move back in against everyone's opinion. Her mom and dad almost disowned her. Her ex-husband was trying to take her kids away from her, but she stood on the rock, and she just said, "I'm gonna give you one more chance." And that was 12 years ago this coming month.
I think, you know, when we have a relationship with God, and we stand strong in that, that she knew that you were her soulmate, and that I can't give up on him, because what if I do and then something drastic happens, right? And so thank God that she didn't give up on you. How has it been to blend families, and does everybody get along, and everybody's good now? I mean, because Keith, did you go to jail for any of that? Did you do any crimes?
Ironically, I never got busted with anything that I should have. There's so many times I got pulled over and had so much stuff in my car, but only by the God's grace that I never got.
Really?
I mean, to be honest with you, there's not a parking lot in this town that I haven't shot dope in. And that's kind of sad to say, but it's the truth.
Were you alone every time?
Oh yeah. You don't want to be
At what point, because I know it starts out, you're partying, you're smoking weed, we're partying, we're kicking it, and now I'm doing cocaine. Now is it that I don't want to share? Now I want to offer me, it's an addiction that, why did you go alone?
I think
because you started out.
Yeah, you start out partying, but then once you snort cocaine, and then all that, your buddies can do all that, and then you maybe smoke a little bit. But when you start bringing needles into the picture, a lot of people don't do that.
Right.
And people judge people, and so I'm like, you know what, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're just doing it a different way.
Right.
So my scars on my body, I don't have any veins on this arm because I've blown them all out. I've got a big old scar on my leg where I missed a vein. But those scars remind me of where I've came from and how far I've come.
Absolutely.
Because when we first got married, in that whole thing, the year and a half that we went through, Gracie was born. I wasn't there with Grace for the first 3 or 4 months of her life, which I think if you can forgive yourself, once you forgive yourself for the pain that you've caused other people, that's when everything changes. And that was my hardest thing, is to forgive, because that's the last person I love in my life that I've ever want to hurt.
Right. It's the truth. So many times, and then people won't let you forget your bad stuff. And they'll hold on to that. But what I had to finally do, and I don't know if you can relate to this, is I had to finally submit to God and say, you know what, I surrender my everything, and I don't care what people say about me. I did it. I own it. I was there. I was in it.
Right.
But now I can look back and say, and look at now and say, thank you, God. We hurt people.
Sure.
We hurt people, and people are going to judge you. People will judge me today.
Sure they will.
They judge God.
Always going to be haters.
It's always going to be that. But as long as you know who you are and you know who you are in Christ, then nobody can stop that. So you have to forgive yourself, and that's the hardest thing. We're our own worst critics.
So He's for you. Who can be against you?
Can nobody be against us?
That's right.
That's
He's
right.
for you.
That's right. Always.
Always.
Always. And He says that you can do all things through me, right? So if you want to give that drug up, you're going to give that drug up. And I'm going to stand with you, and I'm going to walk with you. I had to get that because I was in a little room, in prison room, right?
8 by 8?
Yeah, and I could touch both sides of the wall, and all I could do was say, God, that was it. That was it. It was either Him or it was over.
Right.
And so, but I mean,
I'm so proud of you.
20 years ago, and here I am today. Right, and I feel like that about you too. I just didn't know the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was scared to tell my story. I didn't want people looking at me like that. Part of why Faces the Next Level started, because this is a non-judgmental
That's right.
circle here,
That's
right? I don't care what you did as long as you're fixing it and we learn from it.
That's right.
Right.
And one of the things that when we started this magazine last year, our last February issue, I wanted to get the story out there because I knew there were people in this town who judge a lot of people and maybe whisper, you know, a lot of whispers. And so,
And you can almost feel it.
oh, you can. And so I just laid it out there. I let everybody know this is what I did, this is who we are. And the ironic thing is that when I went through all that, Christy was there for me, and then, you know, less than 2.5 years, we lost Tyler by an accidental shooting. And so the roles reversed, and now that I was there for her, I was her anchor, whereas before she was my anchor.
That's right. Because that's how he works it out. That's just how he works it out.
Yeah. It's been good.
He's
been
been
so good to us.
Yeah, and I feel like if you don't share your story, you hold it in, and it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
It just makes it even worse. And so you're walking around with that burden, right? And so I didn't want to sneak, and I didn't want people to. If you want to know about me, I'm an open book. Ask me now. I don't care. I need to, because I'm not that person anymore. I'm way better than that.
You are way better.
I'm way better than that now.
Well, it's your testimony, and when I'm working out in the gym and guys come up to me and we start conversations, I let them know about my past and all the things I've done. The stories I write in the magazine, I hope it inspires people that, you know, you can change, you can be better.
That's right.
You can be a better husband, a better father, a better employee. We just strive to be better, and
You begin to live life.
you do.
That's when life
You do.
starts.
That
When you
veil
forgive yourself,
comes over.
it does. When you forgive yourself and you let it out,
Honestly
don't
forgive
hold
yourself.
it. You have to honestly.
Yeah.
You can say it.
Oh, yeah.
You can say, "Oh yeah, I forgive myself," and you find yourself right back.
Right back in it.
It's like a turning wheel, you know, and you're right back in that mess again because you're beating yourself up. But when you really release it,
Yep, it's gone.
it's gone.
Because he just
It's
takes
gone.
it from you.
Yeah. And, you know, I was embarrassed. You know, I just really wouldn't tell people because, you know, statistics says I'm not supposed to be working for a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
Statistics says I'm not supposed to be doing any of this stuff I'm supposed to be doing
Right.
that I'm doing right.
Right.
But God said different. He
Right.
said, I don't care what statistics said. And he said the same thing for Keith.
Yep.
I'm his child, you're his child.
Right.
He doesn't make any differences
Right.
in people.
And I think that's one of the things with this magazine, Be Monthly Magazine, that we've done is we've inspired a lot of people. We put a lot of good word out there. We put a lot of good things out there that people, I think, and they hold on to. And so, like I said, my books are always open. People can always judge who I am and what I've done in the past, but it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter to me.
It just doesn't matter.
And so we keep moving on. Our family's stronger than ever. Even after the loss of Tyler, our family came together stronger.
Build a stronger
And,
bond.
It did. And now all of our kids are almost grown up, and Gracie's 12 now, and it's just I know it's just been a ride. I mean, our magazine, I believe today, is our mission. It's our mission to help people. It's our mission to get the story out, not only about Bartlesville, but the people of Bartlesville that no one may not know about.
That's right. That's kind of how Phases the Next Level is. It's like people have, like I'm not the only one that went through this, right?
Sure. Oh, no.
Who knew, you know, Keith, I know you and I know, you know, some things, but nobody knows the extent of that, right? But it was, I think, but it ain't no think. I know that God has a plan for our lives. You're supposed to be here doing B Magazine to tell your stories and help
Right.
other people get their stories out.
Right.
Phases the Next Level is, that's what I do. And it's not just, the story doesn't just stay here in Bartlesville. Once I do stories, then I'm getting people in my inbox from out of town saying, hey, can I do a story? This is on me. Even teenagers, I'm struggling with depression and all this stuff. And I'm like, God, just guide me, show me what I'm supposed to do and how to do it your way.
Yeah.
And so I just know that God has a plan for us and we're where we're supposed to be.
I always say that God has exactly where He wants you. You just have to believe and trust that.
Have faith.
That's right. Have
Okay.
faith. It's been good. It's been
Yeah.
good. I love celebrating sobriety. You know, and getting back into it, I was never one that went to NA meetings, because every time I went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, I'd leave and start using again. Or an AA meeting. So I never went to those kinds of meetings because I just didn't get anything from it.
Right.
And so basically the last time I went to treatment, and down in Cushing, Oklahoma, that was kind of I would say not a suicide mission, but it was. I had a lot of cocaine with me and a lot of stuff, and it didn't really matter. You know, I would drive down the road at 75 miles an hour and shoot myself up, just because I didn't want to pull over.
So don't tell me that's not God that protected you.
Oh, I'm telling you, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
So he's so good.
He's so good.
So for some
I'm just
people,
I'm just so full. Yeah.
so for some people, those meetings are good for them, but you have to find what God's telling you that you need to be doing. And mine was, I needed my family. I needed a purpose. My purpose was gone because now my purpose was to try to get high every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the shame and the guilt just weighed down on me so hard. And when you look in the mirror and you can see the devil looking right back at you, and you know angels are fighting for your soul.
True.
I mean, you could see the angels fighting for your soul. And I remember the last day I did it, and it was it. It was over. I don't think about it now. You could throw it on the table in front of me, and it would just be like, well, whatever.
I believe you, Keith, because I have to tell you a story. My dad has passed away now, and he did drugs before. He was able to live and be clean and live a good life, but in his stuff, right? And he said he was alone, and he was sitting in the chair at home all by himself, and he felt like his body raised out of him, like it was over, like that was it. He was gone.
The old coming out.
No, like he was going to, like his soul was gone. He was passing away, and it scared him so bad that every day he got a Bible, and he was done. He said, "I'm done." He didn't go to rehab. He didn't go to any meetings. He didn't do any of that. He needed his life back, and he needed it with God. So what he did is he sat in that chair every day, and he read that Bible. And every time he got an urge, he got that Bible until God just released it all.
Amen.
And it was over. So rehab is good.
It is. No,
Meetings
it
are good.
Yes.
But everything is not for everyone.
No, it's not.
And whatever works for Keith to get clean, that's what Keith needed to do. Whatever my dad, whatever whatever they needed, whatever I needed to be clean and pure again, and that's what I needed to do, right?
Because your story's going to help so many people. It
Oh
already
my
has.
gosh. Oh
Already
my
has.
gosh,
I've
yes.
watched all your videos, and there's so many good things that you've put out there. And our magazine's helping people, and
It
our
is.
story's helping people. Our relationship, how people see us, and how the love we share for each other.
Right.
She's the love of my life, and without her, I wouldn't be here today.
Right, and I know she feels the same with her, but they say behind every man is a good woman, so.
No, I'm married way up, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
Way
so
up.
thank God for Christy and for your kids and for everybody, because you know what, when you're in this, drugs is the devil. It's the devil, it's
the
of the
enemy.
world, it's the enemy. And when you're in that, you're not around your family who loves you, and they're begging you, please come, please come. My mom would come and find me, and she would be like, I'm just making sure she's so, she's like, I'm just make sure I'm not mad because she came, and making sure you're okay. I couldn't sleep, And at that time, that didn't phase. I'm like, I'm okay, Mama. It's okay. I love you, whatever. But I went right back to doing what I was doing right back until God said, okay, I tried everything. I need to sit you down so I can get your attention. And then I hurt my mother to the core, my dad to the core, and I had nephews that depended on me. That when I said I'd show up, I'd be there. They knew it.
I know, all those times you didn't show up when you said you would. I hated that. I think it's a thing that we have to understand that for me and for our relationship, it was a double-barrel shotgun, because with me coming clean and then just 2 years after that, Tyler passing away, the enemy was full stride trying to destroy this right here.
Yes.
This marriage and this family that we have put in together. And
Right.
so, and it's been a challenge.
Right.
It hasn't been easy for us to go through all that.
Oh no, nothing is. But I feel like, but God said I won't put any more on you than you can
No.
bear. And you feel like it sometimes, like I can't handle this.
I can't.
Like, why is this on me? Because you said you wouldn't put no more on me than I can bear. But He knows what we can bear. He knows just how much we can bear. But we just feel like, and then our family is all we have.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, no outsiders.
No.
I need my family.
Yep.
But they needed me to be who I needed to be for them. And if I couldn't do that, then I couldn't be
Just
there.
think how many prayers were said for us over that time of period
Keith,
that we don't even know were said for us,
even outside of our family, my church family, I'm sure. There's people still in my life that said, I would pray for you, I don't know.
Right.
And I wasn't thinking about that.
No.
I wasn't thinking about that. And I wasn't thinking about calling on God.
Mm-mm.
I was just doing my thing.
Yeah, for a man, you know, we always say we try to take, you know, used to tell God, I got this one. I can handle this one. Let me take this one from you. And then, you know what, while he sits there and watches you and kind of slaps you around a little bit when you can't figure it out, then you start trusting him more and,
Yeah, 'cause he'll
and
say,
everything.
"Alright."
Yeah, he'll just,
I tried.
yeah, yeah.
I'll be here when you come back.
That's right. That's right. So it's just amazing. It's amazing what, if you just believe. And you have to have that belief that he's got you exactly where he wants you, and you just got to continue to move forward. Even when you fall on your face, you're moving forward.
You are. We fall because I think he wants us to realize that we need him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna allow this to happen.
Right.
But thank God he lets us get back up. We can
Right.
get back up. So
Because
I
what
saw a
happened-
lot of people fail and they get it and they wallow in it. Just
Oh.
wallow in it. Oh, I can't. Oh, well,
And
I
addicts
can't
are
do
the
it. I
worst.
can't do it. Yes.
Addicts are the worst.
Yes. I can't do it
We
no
got that
more. It's
stir stick,
over.
man.
Yeah. And never try. It's just a matter of, okay, I've done it. I failed. Okay, let me get back up.
Mhm.
Brush myself off. I got things to do.
When you know, I think when you fail and you fall on your face, what's the first thing you come up to? Your knees.
Your knees. So there was another story I have to tell you about. And the man says, he was in this mess, you know, drugs and doing all this stuff. And he said when he started getting clean, he would stick his house shoes all the way under the bed in the morning. So when he had to get up, he had to get on his knees first thing out of the
I
bed
like that.
to get his house shoes. And when he was down there, he prayed.
That's good stuff.
And it carried him.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
good stuff right
Yeah.
there. That's
This is
awesome.
good.
That is awesome.
Well, Keith, I appreciate you taking the
Wow.
time and sit with me. I just didn't know, and I had to fight back tears. Just this little bit of time is tough, and it's tough not because those are healing tears. It's not
Sure.
tough because I'm sad. I am sad for the things that we go through, but
Sure.
I'm so ecstatic about today and where we are today,
Amen.
both of us,
Amen.
and your families, and
Yes.
your kids are good. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
It's just because of God.
We're blessed.
We're
We are blessed. We are blessed. And thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yes,
Anytime.
you're so sweet.
Oh, thank you. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Didn't mean to get mushy on you, but you know, it's life. So whenever you're struggling and whenever you have issues, call on the name of Jesus and
Amen.
he'll guide you through.
Amen.
Get your support system together and stand strong on God's word. Thank you for joining us. Say your prayers and have a good day.